Rise and remove your hats as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. Let's play ball.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome here inside East Gymnasium of the campus of Fort Lee High School for Day 2 coverage of the 2024 Jack Riley Holiday Tournament, as it's a matchup between the Bergenfield Bears, 0-3 on the season, and the Fort Lee Bridgemen, 3-1 so far this 2024-25 year. Hello, everybody. I'm Dan Long, joined alongside by Dimitri Nanis and Renee Matisich here on our Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel, as this is a matchup between two teams that dropped their first games of the tournament yesterday. Fort Lee lost in heartbreaking fashion in overtime, 62-60 against Passaic, taking on a Bergenfield side that were outlasted by Memorial, 72-54. These two teams met last season in the first round of this holiday tournament. Bergenfield came away with a come-from-behind victory, 44-37. They would go on to play in last year's championship final before losing to Memorial. The winner of this matchup already knows that they will have Riverdale awaiting them on Monday at 5 p.m. The loser will take on North Bergen at 1:30 on Monday. Riverdale was impressive in the second half of their game in the first game of the day. Who will join Riverdale as winners here on day number 2. Fort Lee designated as the road team despite playing here at home. They are in their road white with the orange numerals. Bergenfield in their home black with the silver numbers. Max Greenberg starting things here for Fort Lee. He and his brother Jacob fouled out of the last game in overtime that ended in a steal and a layup right before the buzzer by Passaic. Fort Lee played well in that game. It was a great contest, the most competitive game of the tournament so far in last night's game that was won by the Indians. Good defense here by Bergenfield. And that's going to be a traveling violation against Fort Lee in their first offensive possession, giving possession back over to Bergenfield. Will Yeager is the head coach of the Bears, looking for their first win of the season. Josh Ford, Fort Lee class of 2014, in his first season in charge of his alma mater, trying to look for his fourth win in 5 games. Good ball movement leads to the Ehrlich 3, no good. Rebounded underneath by Bergenfield. Here come the Bears in the open floor. They held an early lead against Memorial, but then fell behind and never could claw their way back in yesterday's quarterfinal showdown. Valdez finding the cutter across the lane, and Ehrlich with a good defense of the rim with a block inside. After they were trying to find Yadier Rodriguez, who had 9 points yesterday against Memorial, underneath. Into the corner, here's Rodriguez, open for 3, and he knocks down the triple. First 3 points of the game for Bergenfield as they take an early 3-0 lead. Ave Murray into the corner for Ehrlich, passes off the mark. That leads to a turnover. Bergenfield with losses against Clifton, Cliffside Park, and Memorial on the season. Again, last year they rallied from a big halftime deficit and eventually went on to pull out the come-from-behind victory against Fort Lee a season ago. There's Josh Herr in the corner. He's the sharpshooter for Bergenfield. Tipped away, and Valdez with the offensive rebound. Nice running lane, but no opportunity there. Jude unable to get that one to fall. Still remains a 3-point lead for Bergenfield, and that time a reach-in foul after Jacob Greenberg was stripped of the ball. Jude getting called for the foul, his first, team's first. Max Greenberg over to Ehrlich. There's another reach-in foul against Bergenfield. And for Coach Josh Ford and his Bridgemen, they have not gotten the ball yet to Guy Vickers, who exploded for 30 points in yesterday's loss against Passaic. He's the one that you have to get involved early and often. Not only can be a scorer, but also a great facilitator for this offense. Greenberg being hounded this time by Rodriguez. And another foul is going to be called. Already that's going to be the third team foul against Bergenfield. Yadier Rodriguez getting called for the foul, his first, team's third. Into the backcourt it goes. Max Greenberg had 9 points against Passaic. Jake Ehrlich, he's the one that has to get going. Trying to get it underneath to Vickers. Vickers stopped at first, tried another follow-up attempt, but airballed it. Great interior defense there by Rashard Haynes. Herr getting it up top, Chaldude, and he knocks in the three ball. Two made threes in the early goings here for Bergenfield, and they've raced out to an early 6-0 advantage. Ehrlich in the open floor, cutting right to the rim, got fouled in the act of shooting. That's already going to be the fourth team foul against Bergenfield, so they have no longer any more fouls to give. And that'll send Jake Ehrlich to the line to shoot two. Haynes picked up the foul. And Ehrlich swishes home the first made foul shot to get Fort Lee on the board. 6-1 lead here for Bergenfield as Ehrlich quickly fires again. It almost seemed like he was rushing it too much. Goes 1 of 2 at the line. 6-1 lead for Bergenfield. Here's Herr coming off a 19-point performance against Memorial. Herr inside, rattled in and out, rebound secured by Jacob Greenberg. There's a three in the corner, no good. Outlet the other way, here's Herr in the open floor. Herr winding his way through, avoids the contact, and he lays it in. Josh Herr's first 2 points. And a timeout taken early on here by Fort Lee as it is an 8-1 advantage for Bergenfield with 4:15 left to go in the first quarter of play. As Josh Ford is being very vocal in his huddle right now for his team as they are sleepwalking in the early goings here. Bergenfield, the much more inspired side. Josh Herr with his first 2 points of the game. As I mentioned, 19-point performance in a loss yesterday. Playing in front of his father, Tom, who is, as fate would have it, the athletic trainer here at Fort Lee. So many different storylines with this one. Fort Lee looked great against Bergenfield in the first half of last year's game, but fell off the tracks in the second half. Bergenfield then forced overtime, went on to win in overtime. Bergenfield would then go on to defeat Passaic 48-44 in the semifinals to punch their ticket to the finals before their dramatic run to the championship ended with a loss against Memorial, a team that bested them yesterday in a rematch of the 2023 final. Fort Lee started off their season 3-0 with wins against Paramus, Passaic Valley, and Passaic Charter. Lost to Passaic, now taking on another Bergen County opponent. They're 1-1 here at home this season. So out of the timeout, we'll see if Josh Ford's emotion triggers a new start here to this game for his team, but that one is swatted away. Here's her in the open floor, and one! Somehow got it to go after getting hit on the arm. So Josh Herr with quick 4-point effort, and now a chance at a 3-point play. All Bergenfields in the early goings of this one. That foul went against Max Greenberg, his first, team's first. Herr didn't have anything going for him in the first quarter of yesterday's game because he got saddled with 2 quick fouls, but he has now scored 5 unanswered points. Bergenfield on top by 10, 11-1. Just nothing coming easily right now here on offense for Fort Lee. Bergenfield playing an inspired brand of defensive basketball. Greenberg split through the defense. Vickers wrestles the strong arm rebound back, and then he got fouled on his way up. That'll be the 15th foul against Bergenfield. So now Fort Lee will head back to the foul line where they've gotten their only point so far in this game. Vickers had 30 points against Passaic, 26-point effort earlier this season against Passaic Valley. Misfires in the first foul shot attempt. That foul was charged against Rashard Haynes, his second. So the big man inside for Bergenfield already is with some quick foul trouble. That will elicit the change and have Diego Tavares, number 24, come onto the floor for the first time. And Vickers knocks in the foul shot, goes 1 of 2 at the line. First point of the day. 11-2 lead for Bergenfield. Under 3.5 minutes left to go in the first quarter of action. Rodriguez cross-court pass. Tavares trying to hook around inside. Rodriguez again going to that far side to Herr, and Herr is going to get called for the travel. And possession will go back over to Fort Lee, so a good defensive stop there for the Bridgemen. These two teams will renew acquaintances not that long from now. January 4th, these two teams are going to meet here at East Gymnasium in a regular season game. Bruden getting it inside to Vickers. Vickers took an extra dribble when he really didn't need to, and it's knocked out of bounds. Last touch off of the Bridgemen, so a very slow start to this game for Fort Lee. Bergenfield playing with more energy, more passion. They want this one to try to advance to then play on Monday against Riverdale. Nadia Rodriguez, 9-point performance in the loss against Memorial. Touch pass up top, Chowjude. Another 3! Emil Chowjude. That is his second made 3 of this first quarter. He had 8 points against Memorial. He's got a quick 6 here against Fort Lee. Vickers nearly picked up the travel. 14-2 lead. Fort Lee looking for a spark. There it might be. A high arcing 3 knocked in by Max Greenberg. First 3 of the game for the Bridgemen. First made bucket. 14-5. Bergenfield on top. Fort Lee averaging 54 points per game to start off this season, allowing less than 50 points to opponents. Double team coming to Herr. He gets away from it. Rodriguez lets the defender fly by him. Looks for the 3, no good. Carved out positioning inside. Loose ball tie-up, and it's going to be a traveling violation, that time against Xavier Valdez. Valdez incredulous. He thought that at the very worst it should have been a loose ball tie-up. Possession error would have favored Bergenfield. So possession now for Fort Lee as Max and Jacob Greenberg play a game of catch. Here's Christian Bruden in the open floor. Bruden lost the handle on his way up, but did get fouled in the act, and Christian Bruden will head to the foul line to shoot 2 with 1:38 left to go in the first quarter. Bruden was that energy spark off the bench in yesterday's game for the Bridgemen, turned around their efforts against Passaic as he goes with a miss on his first foul shot attempt. Second foul shot is good, so Fort Lee has started 3 for 6 at the foul line in this game. Bruton's first point of the afternoon. 14-6 lead for Bergenfield here in the first quarter. Bergenfield breaking the full court pressure and a late foul called after Ehrlich got a piece of Tavares going up for the layup attempt. Fort Lee was slow to trap there on the full court pressure. Tavares misfiring on the first foul shot attempt. Bergenfields has participated in this tournament every year since 2017. His foul shot attempt, good hustle right in front of us by Josh Herr. Last touch by him out of bounds. So missed opportunity there, missed 2 foul shots by Diego Tavares. Ehrlich, cross-court pass. Here's Max Greenberg out of control and an offensive foul. Left his feet with the player underneath the rim stationary. Good help defense there by Yadier Rodriguez. And for Max Greenberg, that is his second personal foul. He was in foul trouble yesterday against Passaic, eventually fouled out in overtime. Now he'll have to take a seat with 1:15 and counting left to go in the first quarter. Fort Lee with only 1 made field goal in this entire first quarter. There's another look for Bergenfield from 3, no good. Guy Vickers with a rebound underneath. It was a good look, though, for Rodriguez. Ehrlich, corner 3. No good, double touch off the rim. Vickers tries to clean it up inside, blocked away. Ehrlich, though, the recipient of a nice fortuitous bounce to him. He got the mid-range jumper to go. 3 points there for Ehrlich in the first quarter. Lead is cut down to 6, 14-8. 30 seconds left to go in the first quarter of play. Yadier Rodriguez. Chaujude back to Rodriguez. Good hands in the passing lane by Ehrlich. Sophomore bringing it down the other way. Here's Jacob Greenberg, picks up the dribble. Extra pass, Neve Murray for 3. No good. Good box out underneath by Rodriguez. 7 seconds left to go in the quarter. Bergenfield trying to increase their lead. Here's Josh Herr to beat the buzzer. Launches that one up too high, but beating the buzzer, it was Diego Tavares, the offensive putback. And Bergenfield doubling up Fort Lee after the first quarter of play, 16-8. Stick around as we'll be back for the start of the second quarter of play here from East Gymnasium as you're watching exclusive broadcast coverage of the 2024 Jack Riley Holiday Tournament here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. (16-8) Bergenfield on top of Fort Lee. Guy Vickers coming off a 30-point performance yesterday for the Bridgemen, held to only 1 total point in the first 8 minutes of play. Emil Chaujude with 6 points for Bergenfield. Josh Herr also chipping in 5 points as well. Turnover forced by Fort Lee. Here go the Bridgemen in the open floor. And Murray got pushed from behind after he was trying to go up for a layup there. That'll be a foul against Aiden Roldan. That was the one thing that Bergenfield did a lot of in that first quarter. They fouled a lot too. That might come back to haunt them. Colonel Dan's first foul of the game as he comes in off of the bench. And foul shooting has not been exquisite in the early goings here for the Bridgemen. 3 of 7 so far in this game. LeVay Murray, the senior, goes 1 of 2 at the line. So Fort Lee is 4 of 8. Murray's first point of the afternoon. Bridgman in a 2-3 zone. There's her. Off the back iron. Tipped around. Bergenfield doing a great job of the offensive boards in this game, but finally it's tracked down by Bruden. Jacob Greenberg now dribbling it up. Haven't been trying to find anything to Vickers at all, and that leads to a backcourt violation. Max Greenberg comes in, Murray comes out. Max Greenberg playing with 2 personal fouls. Inside, blocked away. Good block on the blind side there by Vickers. Fort Lee's got to find a way to get their big man involved here. Ehrlich across the lane. He got his shot blocked away. Max Greenberg into the corner to his brother Jacob. High arcing 3, no good. Vickers with the offensive rebound, snatched out of his clutches. He wins it right back, and now it's going to be a tie-up jump ball. Possession will stay with Fort Lee. .6:39 left to go in the first half. 16-9 lead for Bergenfield. Fort Lee has never led in this game. Max Greenberg got it poked from behind, out of bounds. Last touch off of Bergenfield. Zahir Mendoza, number 4, with the on-ball defense. Greenberg trying to take his man off the dribble. Pull-up jumper is good. Jacob Greenberg, first main basket of the game. He had 12 points against Passaic yesterday. Lead is down to 5 now for Bergenfield. Her lurking around the baseline. They dump it down low to Valdez. Stolen away. Ehrlich with another steal in this first half. Max Greenberg, reverse layup, no good. Vickers swoops in, stuffed at the rim. Now Bergenfield with a breakout the other way. Here come the Bears in the open floor. Sidestepping a defender, missing in the first time, but following his own miss was Mendoza. Mendoza's first 2 points. Bergenfield trying to stop this momentum shift. They lead 18-11. That'll be a foul against Bergenfield on the reach-in. Ehrlich. Up top. Max Greenberg in the corner, trying to find Vickers. Look at all of the Bergenfield players collapsing on him. Comes all the way out. Loose ball tie-up. And possession arrow will favor. Looks like it's going to be Bergenfield this time around. Her was a little gimpy after that collision. Might have knocked knees, as he's slow to walk off the court on the far side. And the trainer who will attend to him also happens to be his father. So Tom Herr, who's the trainer here at Fort Lee, going over to check in on the health of his son. Looked like at that collision, knocked knees. Hopefully we'll see Josh back on the floor, one of the best shooters in this tournament. There's a fadeaway 3 by Bergenfield. Good box out by Bruden. Couldn't get to it cleanly, though. Bergenfield is winning all the hustle plays right now in this first half. Bridgman a step slower. Terrell Duncan into the game. Shaljud up top. 7-point advantage for Bergenfield. Good extra pass. Roldan in the corner. Bruden hounding defense. And then after all of that, a bump foul against Ehrlich. Ehrlich will pick up the foul. That is his second personal foul. So he and Max Greenberg playing with 2 fouls apiece. A steal produced by Greenberg, but they're going to say that he stepped out of bounds on the near sideline. Ehrlich will come out. Murray will come back in. Coach Ford does not have a deep bench for the Bridgemen this season. So foul difficulties really wreak havoc as Bridgemen play primarily with about 7 different players in their rotation. Up top, straightaway 3. Bergenfield has run cold from deep. So they knocked in a couple in the first quarter. Rebound was tracked down, and now Fort Lee pushing it the other way. Max Greenberg has to dive for the ball. He is being contested with Mendoza. Jump ball, possession arrow will keep it for Fort Lee. But the Bridgemen struggling mightily in just holding on to possession. So here Mendoza has been a defensive dynamo so far here in the first half. 4:02 left to go as we're at the midway point of the second quarter. Thanks for joining us here in the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. I'm Dan Long, calling all the action in this entire tournament. Game number 6 of this tournament. And it looks like a foul is going to be whistled against Bergenfield, so the Bears have been so active defensively. Picking up some fouls in the process as well. Mendoza picked up his first, team's 3rd of the quarter. They've got 1 more foul to give before it's foul shots the rest of the half. Murray for 3, no good. Loose ball rebound just fell right into the waiting grasp of Jacob Greenberg on a bounce. Nobody was there to collect that loose ball for Bergenfield. 18-13, 5-point lead now for the Bears. Bergenfield has only scored 2 total points in this entire second quarter after putting up 16 in the first. Into the corner it goes, and that's going to be an errant pass that leads to the turnover. Bergenfield led by 8 after 1. Their lead is 5 currently. Fort Lee hasn't been helping themselves out that much either. They have only scored 5 total points in this quarter. Max Greenberg over to Jacob Greenberg. Down in the block now to Bruden. Max Greenberg let the defender fly by him. Kicked out in the corner. Here's Jacob. Long range 3. Knocks it down in the corner. Jacob Greenberg has come alive here in the second quarter, scoring all 7 of his points. And the lead is down to 2, 18-16. Valdez cutting inside to Rodriguez. Rodriguez is going to be tied up and fouled on the floor with 2:37 left to go in the second quarter. That foul will go against Max Greenberg, and for Max, that is his 3rd, so his first half is definitely going to be done. And that is why Coach Ford was so emotional after that foul called. Point guard in foul trouble again. Good denial at the rim. Ehrlich with a rebound. Jacob Greenberg, fancy dribbling. Feeds it down low to Vickers. Vickers up and good. Guy Vickers, his first field goal of the game. And Fort Lee has battled back to tie this game up at 18 points apiece. 2:15 and counting left to go before halftime. Mendoza being shadowed now by Bruden. Mendoza on the baseline, looking for a receiver. Kicked around to Rodriguez. Rodriguez will pull it out, 1:50 left to go in the half. Chow Jude looks for and gets his 3rd made 3 of the first half. 9 points for Emil Chadju, the freshman. Jacob Greenberg On the run, tries to go high off the glass. Vickers inside and one. Guy Vickers up to 5 points here in the first half. Starting to dominate on the offensive glass. And because of that, Rashard Haynes, the starting center, about to check back into the game for Bergenfield with 2 personal fouls. They cannot afford to keep Guy Vickers still just dominating on the boards. Second foul against Xavier Valdez. Vickers misfires on the foul shot, though, and Haynes, who just came into the game, pulls down the rebound. 21-20, Bergenfield on top. Led by as many as 10 in this game. And that pass goes out of bounds for a turnover. Possession back over to Fort Lee. Coming up in the final minute, Bruden right to the rim and in. Christian Bruden's first made field goal has given Fort Lee the lead, 22-21. Rodriguez. Chow Jude again from 3. No good. He was looking for his 4th triple of the half. Rebound by Vickers. Now Fort Lee, will they try to hold for a final shot in this first half? Bruden. Up and under move. No good. Vickers, offensive rebound. Muscles his way up and good. Guy Vickers, 7 points in this game, 6 of which have come in this second quarter alone. 24-21 lead for Fort Lee. Rodriguez up top to Haynes. Now Herr. Josh Herr off the dribble, and Herr got fouled on his way up to the rim and will earn 2 more foul shots. Herr scoring all 5 of his points in the first quarter. Looking for his first points of the second quarter with his team down by 3 and only 5 seconds remaining before halftime. Herr short on the foul shot. Jacob Greenberg picked up the foul for Fort Lee. That is his first, team's 3rd. Tavares will come back in to try to avoid any silly foul potentially for Haynes before the half. Herr swishes home that second foul shot. He's 1 of 2, 6 points in the half. Greenberg outlets it to Ehrlich down the floor. Ehrlich, can he get the 3 off in time? He does. High arcing 3, no good. And Fort Lee will turn this game around after being down by 8 after 1. They'll take a 2-point lead into the halftime locker room with them. 24-22 on top of Bergenfield. Stick around, fans, as we'll be back for the start of the second half of play as you're watching our exclusive broadcast coverage of the 2024 Jack Riley Holiday Tournament, courtesy of all of our proud sponsors listed on your screen. Welcome back here inside East Gymnasium as we're moments away from the start of the second half of play. Fort Lee leading Bergenfield by a score of 24-22. Bergenfield, they had all the momentum and the lead in that first quarter of play. They led 16-8 after the first 8 minutes of action. And then in that second quarter, Fort Lee finally got in gear using their defense to spur on their offense. They outscored Bergenfield 16-6. Taking a 2-point advantage into the halftime locker room. Dan Long, Renee Matisic, and Dimitri Nanis here on the broadcast coverage of this 2024 Jack Riley Holiday Tournament. The winner of this game will take on Riverdale at 5 p.m. on Monday in the 5th place game, while the loser of this game will take on North Bergen at 1:30 in our first game on Monday afternoon in the 7th place game. Following this one will be the first of our 2 semifinals. A great one on store for us. Old Japan taking on Wayne Valley in game number 3. And then in our second semifinal, it's going to be Passaic taking on defending tournament champs in Memorial. Watch all the games live and on demand anytime here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Bergenfield designated as the home team in this matchup despite playing here at Fort Lee. They are in their home black. Fort Lee in their road white with the orange numerals outlined in black. Bergenfield will start with possession to begin this third quarter. Rodriguez outletting it off to the near side. Jude got tripped up on that play, and it was Ehrlich with the foul, and more foul difficulty for Fort Lee starters. Jake Ehrlich picking up his 3rd personal foul rather quickly. So he and Max Greenberg playing with 3 fouls. Ehrlich will come off the floor. Greenberg defending. He has to be careful. Here's Herr coming off the screen, sets and fires, drifting that shot off to the left side, no good. Rebounded by Christian Bruden. Greenberg over to Bruden on the far side, getting it down low in the block to Vickers. Vickers swinging that pass over to Murray. Murray sets and fires and knocks in the triple to the near side. Neve Murray with his first made field goal of the game. He's got 4. Nice assist there for Guy Vickers. Largest lead of the game now for Fort Lee at 5, 27-22. Max Greenberg fronting that pass attempt, and he produces the steal. So the Bridgemen starting to get into a little bit of a groove here. Here's Bruden in the open floor. Swings that pass up to Murray. Murray back to Bruden. Here's Max Greenberg. Fort Lee knocking in 3 threes in this game now. Max had the first of it. And that's going to be a 5-second violation as Greenberg did not get enough spacing away from the dogged defense of Xavier Valdez. Turnover gives the ball back over to Bergenfield. Last season, Bergenfield went 10-17 overall. Made the North 1 Group 3 playoffs. As the 14 seed lost to Wayne Valley in the first round. Fort Lee a season ago went 10-15, made it to the North 2 Group 3 playoffs. As the 14 seed lost to number 3 seeded Colonia in the first round of those sectional playoffs. Herr with the inbound. Josh Herr 6 points in the first half, 5 of which came in the first quarter. Jude, he had 3 threes in the first half of play, and nice assist there on the 3-point shot, knocked in by Yadier Rodriguez. Rodriguez's second made 3 of the game. He's got 6. Back to a 2-point lead for Fort Lee. Fort Lee breaking the pressure. Bruden inside, missed on the layup. Vickers cleans it up, though, as he's dominating down low. 9 points for Guy Vickers. So many of his buckets coming off of offensive rebounds. 4-point lead for Fort Lee, 29-25. Rodriguez handing it off to Valdez. Rodriguez, top of the key, drives it down low, feeding it backwards. Jude across the lane, took an extra step in the process. That's a traveling violation. Possession back over to the Bridgemen. Full court pressure now being displayed by Bergenfield. Murray across the lane. Kicking it back up top to Jacob Greenberg, weaving his way through traffic. Fadeaway jumper is short. Vickers tried to tip it out to himself. One-handed attempt, though, was gobbled up by Chow Jude. Down the other way, getting it inside to Haynes. Haynes twisting and turning every which way, but eventually gets it back up top to Rodriguez. Rodriguez fumbling that one away. Chow Jude, long range three, and he knocks it in. The freshman has been red hot from deep, his fourth made three of the game. Brings Bergenfield back to within one. Vickers being hounded. Here's Murray open for three in the near side. Too long. Rodriguez with a rebound. Rodriguez looking to push the pace down the other way. And a foul against Bruden trying to reach in after Rodriguez was stopping on a dime. Bruden picks up the foul, his first, team's third for Fort Lee. As Herr will inbound it. And again, another traveling violation. Now Jude has been very good at being able just to set and fire from deep, but when he's trying to take his defender off a dribble, that's when he's gotten himself in trouble with some of these costly turnovers. Fort Lee's led by as many as 5 in this game. Bergenfield had a double-digit lead back in the first quarter. Bruden getting it down to Vickers in the post. Vickers, extra pass, beautiful find. Murray cut off the ball and found his way to an easy lay-in. Another assist for Guy Vickers as the double team quickly came to him. 3-point lead for Fort Lee at the midway point of the third quarter. Traveling violation that time against Rashard Haynes. Not really an offensive player for Bergenfield, and when they forced him to put the ball on the deck that time, he shuffled his feet before he was able to put the dribble down. Trying to match up inside against Vickers. His two of them getting physical. Jacob Greenberg. As a foul is going to be whistled on the floor against Bergenfield. That's going to be the first Bear foul of the second half. Second personal foul against Yadier Rodriguez. Bruden nearly lost it in the corner. Going to be a timeout taken by Josh Ford as he saw disaster waiting to happen. Timeout on the floor with just over 3 minutes left to go here in the third quarter. Fort Lee on top of Bergenfield by a score of 31-28. This is the second game of the second day of the 2024 Jack Riley Holiday Tournament. Fort Lee and Bergenfield met in last year's first round. Bergenfield came from behind with a rallying victory of 44-37. Bergenfield went on to go 2-1 in the tournament, finishing as runners-up. Fort Lee went 1-2 last year in the tournament. Lost to North Bergen and Secaucus. But defeated Secaucus, lost to North Bergen as well as losing to Bergenfield. That pass out of the timeout. One official was saying that it should have been possession for Fort Lee. Others were saying Bergenfield. And it is a turnover for Fort Lee as they threw it away. So Herr will dribble it up now for Bergenfield. His team down by 3. Rodriguez trying to look for a cutter. Finds Herr instead up top. Herr, quick fire, no good. Max Greenberg tracks down the rebound. And these two teams will do it all over again on January 4th here at East Gymnasium. Bruden weaving his way inside, a lot of contact, and finally the call. And Christian Bruden will head to the foul line to shoot two. Bruden is so athletic and a ball of energy. Not really known for his shooting touch. But he's a hustle guy. He got Fort Lee out of the doldrums of yesterday's game against Passaic, really turned the game around in their favor and helped force that game into overtime. First foul shot is good for Bruden. 4 points in this game for Christian Bruden, the junior. Bruden goes 2 for 2 at the line. He's got 5. He's 3 for 4 at the line here in this game, and the lead is back to 5 for Fort Lee, 33-28. 3 minutes and counting left to go in the third quarter. Fort Lee trying to administer and amp up their defense. Her left that to Tavares, who's back into the game as the backup big man. Her's been held in check at this point. Rodriguez is open in the corner for three, no good. Vickers with a rebound. Here's Max Greenberg in the open floor. Leaves it behind for Murray. Greenberg handing it off for Jacob Greenberg. Sets and fires the three, no good. Bears trying to claw closer. Jude has been the best shooter for this Bergenfield side. 12 points in the game on 4 made threes. 2 minutes left to go in the third. Bruden trying to stay as close as possible to her. Jude takes his man off the dribble. Good recovery block, though, by Murray. Here's the 3-on-2 break the other way. Max Greenberg goes coast to coast for the lay-in. Diagnosed the defense. Nobody picked him up. Nobody stopped the ball, and Max Greenberg sails his way to the rim. He's got 5. 35-28, 90 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Tavares cutting across the middle, tied up. And is that going to be a foul, though, and a reach-in foul against Jacob Greenberg? That will be a foul against Jacob Greenberg, so much like his brother Max, Jacob has now picked up his third personal foul with 1:27 left to go in the third. Again, fouls were a concern and a big part in last night's game as Her came off the screen and got the nice shooter's roll as it hit all parts of the rim and falls for the three. Her's first three of the game, he's got 9 for Bergenfield. Murray stopping at a dime, trying to outlet it back up top to Jacob Greenberg. Now here's Murray. Floater. Left short, too short inside. He's holding on to his foot behind the play. Numbers the other way for Bergenfield, trying to go coast to coast, and one! Zahir Mendoza. The hoop and the harm and a chance at a traditional three-point play. And after Fort Lee had a little breathing room, now all of a sudden 5 unanswered points for Bergenfield with a chance to make it 6-0 run and pull to within 1 here with 58 seconds left to go in the third quarter. And that was the 4th personal foul against Jacob Greenberg. Mendoza completes the three-point play. Wow, in the blink of an eye, the 7-point lead dwindled down to 1 for Fort Lee. Vickers will take it himself. Max Greenberg will get called for the travel after Murray had sent it back to him. But now momentum shifting clearly in Bergenfield's favor as the Bears will have possession with 49.3 seconds left to go here in the third quarter of play. Murray watching Her. Tavares inside. Left the ball behind on the deck. Loose ball tie-up. Possession arrow will favor Fort Lee as good hustle by Her and by Bruden will give the ball back over to the Bridgemen. 39.7 seconds left to go in this second day game. The winner will take on Riverdale on Monday at 5. The loser will take on North Bergen at 1:30 in the 7th place game on Monday. Fort Lee looking for their 4th win of the season. There's a reach and foul by Bergenfield. They still have plenty of fouls to give, so it's not sending Fort Lee to the line just yet. Fort Lee is over the limit themselves, so any subsequent foul committed by the Bridgemen this quarter will send Bergenfield to the line. Mendoza picked up the foul. That was his second. Ehrlich. Here's Vickers. Double team coming to him. Tipped out in front of us. And it will be last touch out of bounds off of Fort Lee, so it's going to be an inbound upcoming here for Bergenfield. 20.7 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Will inbound it to Yanier Rodriguez. Again, Fort Lee cannot foul here, especially if it's Max Greenberg. He's working with 3 fouls in the game. His brother Jacob just picked up his 4th, and he's taken a seat on the bench. 5 seconds left to go in the quarter. 2 seconds left. Mendoza kind of lost track of how much time was remaining in the quarter. Just lofted that one up. And Bergenfield going on a 6-0 run at the end of that quarter will pull to within 1 as we head to the start of the fourth quarter. Fort Lee on top of Bergenfield 35-34. Stick around as we're going to be headed to the start of the fourth quarter here from East Gymnasium as you're watching the 2024 Jack Riley Holiday Tournament here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. $35-34, Fort Lee on top of Bergenfield. Bergenfield outscoring the Bridgemen 12-11 in that third quarter of play. Bergenfield 0-3 on the season, trying to carve out their first win of the year. Fort Lee 3-1, trying to go to 4-1 on the season. Herr went high off the glass, no good. Rebounded, snatched out by Vickers. Collision ensues, and that's going to be a bump foul against Mendoza, who's now quickly picked up his 3rd personal foul. $35-34 lead for Fort Lee. It's the first time, as we mentioned in last night's broadcast, that Fort Lee has opened up a season 3-0 since the 2012-2013 season. Love to pick up a win here. It's going to be another reach-in foul against Bergenfield, so Max Greenberg has done a nice job eliciting a couple of fouls against the Bears. Rodriguez with the foul and the reach-in. He'll take a seat. That is his 3rd personal foul in this game. 2 quick fouls for Bergenfield. They didn't have foul trouble in the third quarter. There's an errant pass and a turnover forced the other way by Bergenfield. And in the open floor, high off the glass, Terrell Duncan. First 2 points of the game, Bergenfield back in front, 36-35. An 8-0 run now, dating back to the end of the third quarter. Greenberg again out of control. Vickers into the corner, Ehrlich for 3. Off the mark. Bruden trying to tap it to his teammate underneath. Bruden, strong arm rebound. And is this going to be a foul? Looks like it will be a foul against Bergenfield. Christian Bruden has a nose for the basketball here. And that is the 4th personal foul against Mendoza, who's one of the better defenders for Bergenfield. One more and he is done for the game. He's got to be careful right now against Greenberg. Greenberg switching to the left hand, high off the glass and good. Max Greenberg. A high degree of difficulty on that penetration drive down the middle of the lane. Greenberg was 7. Fort Lee leads again, 37-36. Tavares, off balance, blocked away by Vickers. Bruden getting dirty on the floor. Here's Fort Lee in the open floor, and Ehrlich loses the handle after he was trying to go with it in a fast break the other way. Missed opportunity for the Bridgemen as Jake Ehrlich had a 2-on-1 developing if he could just handle it. Full court pressure being administered now here by Fort Lee. Roldan gets called for the travel. Moved without the dribble. So Ehrlich makes amends after coughing it up himself by forcing the turnover. Inside to Vickers. Vickers' turnaround shot is good. Vickers' first main basket of the fourth quarter. He's got 11. (39-36). Her behind the back. Tavares thought about it briefly of a potential corner three. Roldan getting it up top. Shaljude. Give and go. He had the man cutting, but he didn't turn around in time. Valdez didn't get the ball. The other way, and it's a no call on the layup that time by Bruden. Bruden's got 7. He's pumped up his cohorts and a timeout taken. 5:46 left to go in the fourth quarter of play, and Fort Lee's lead is now at 5 at 41-36. Christian Bruden now with 7 points in this game. Ty Vickers with 11 points as leading scorer. Max Greenberg has also chipped in 7. Jacob Greenberg with 7. Very balanced scoring here for Fort Lee. Bergenfield being led by Emil Shaljude's 12 points. Josh Herr with 9 points. Fort Lee going on a run here. They had trailed at one point 36-35. 6-0 run by the Bridgemen. Lead is 5, 41-36. Tavares once again trying to find the entry pass, and he threw it away. Bruden down the other way. Stops on a dime. Max Greenberg will settle it down. Bruden looking initially for Vickers. The timeout's going to be granted to Coach Josh Ford as he'll want to talk things over. 5:17 left to go here in the fourth quarter of play. Fort Lee trying to go to 4-1 on the season with a win and set up a potential matchup with Riverdale on Monday afternoon at 5 p.m. Again, a reminder, fans, that we will have exclusive broadcast coverage of this tournament on Monday. Can't play 3 consecutive days in New Jersey high school basketball, so a day off tomorrow. We'll be back for the Final 4 games on Monday, including the championship round at 6:45 on Monday. We will find out who will be playing in that championship final in our next 2 games. The next 2 games are the semifinals in this tournament. First semifinal will be Old Tappan taking on Wayne Valley. That's going to be following this game. And then our last game of the day, the second semifinal, Memorial taking on Passaic. See what Coach Ford drew up here out of the timeout. Closing in on 3 minutes gone by here in the fourth. They seal it inside for Vickers. Vickers gets hounded from behind. He turns and fires and still gets it to go. Bergenfield has been throwing so many bodies at Guy Vickers here today, and he found a way, despite 3 different defenders draped all alongside him, to get the lay-in. Guy Vickers now up to 13 points in the game. back to the largest lead of the contest for Fort Lee at 7, 43-36. Bruden trying to force the turnover. Last touch, though, out of bounds off of the Bridgman. Possession will stay with Bergenfield. Jacob Greenberg back onto the floor for the first time in a while. Again, he's playing with 4 personal fouls. That might have been a travel that Bergenfield got away with, but nonetheless, they turn it over. Max Greenberg in transition, finding Jacob. Now back up top to Max. Is that going to be a reach-in foul against Bergenfield? And that'll be the 4th team foul against the Bears. They have no more fouls to give here, and Fort Lee has not committed a single foul themselves. Valdez with a reach-in foul. That is his 3rd. So foul shots the rest of the way for Fort Lee. They have to be smart but also aggressive. Here's Greenberg dumping it off inside to Vickers. Vickers got it blocked at the rim. Vickers fights again inside, missing it. And deflected last touch off of Vickers after he tried to swallow up another rebound. Good positional defense that time by Haynes, who's back onto the floor for Bergenfield. Rodriguez back onto the floor as well for Coach Yeager. Bears looking for their first win of the season once again. Will be forced to come from behind against Fort Lee in this tournament. They did so last year. Her getting it into the corner. Xiaojude, no good. Fight for the loose ball rebound. That's going to be a jump ball. Possession arrow gets it back over to Fort Lee. Good job by Jacob Greenberg with 4:02 left to go here in regulation. Bridgman leading by 7. They've trailed by double digits early in this game when Bergenfield got off to a red-hot start in the first quarter. They led 11-1. Murray getting it back up top to Bruden. Bruden getting away from his defender. Jump stops. Gets it to Vickers. Vickers pulls up from deep. Left it short and deflected last touch out of bounds. They're going to say off of Bergenfield. Max Greenberg will trigger the restart with the inbound. Gets it inside to Jacob. Jacob fadeaway jumper, no good. Left it short, Josh Herbert the rebound. 3.5 minutes left to go in regulation. Kick out into the corner. Xiaojude again, another 3. His 5th made 3 of the game. He's got a game-high 15 and a timeout taken by Bergenfield. Stopping the clock with 3.5 minutes left to go. 43-39. As the freshman has been deadly from deep. 5 3-pointers in this game. 1 in each quarter so far for number 20 in black. 43-39 lead for Fort Lee. Again, these two teams will meet after the new year on January 4th here at East Gymnasium. A game that you'll be able to see here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel at 7 p.m. tip-off. This tournament concludes on the 30th, and then Fort Lee will have a couple days off before taking on Bergenfield, and then they'll start league play January 7th on the road at Dumont. Then they'll travel to Dwight Morrow before coming back home on January 11th to take on Wayne Hills. Bergenfield, after the new year, as we mentioned, will travel here on the 4th. We'll travel to Demorest on the 7th, and then they will play host to Old Japan on January 9th. Vickers at the foul line, up top to Bruden in the corner. Double team comes to Bruden, slips it inside to Vickers. Up top to Jacob Greenberg with a floater across the lane, no good. Tipped it out to space, but nobody was in that area. And they're going to say last touch off of Bergenfield. I think that it went off of Fort Lee last, and officials are conferring with one another. And they will say that it is Fort Lee basketball. Benefit of a break there for the Bridgman. Bruden trying to dribble out of the double team. Is that going to be a reach-in foul against Bergenfield? If so, that'll be the 5th team foul, and foul shots now for Christian Bruden. Now, Jude was the one who picked up the foul. Bruden misfires on that foul shot. He's 3 for 5 at the foul line in this game, 7 points for Bruden. Second shot also no good. Murray tipped it out to Bruden. New life here in this possession for Fort Lee. This could be a back-breaking possession for Bergenfield if Fort Lee finds a way home for a made layup or a long-range three. That shot no good. Another offensive rebound. This possession continues on for the Bridgemen. Max Greenberg over to Jacob. Defense extending again. No fouls to give if you're Bergenfield. Here's Bruden trying to contain his dribble. Bruden dribbling through the trees. Fort Lee being patient here. Double team coming to Max Greenberg. Picks up the basketball, and now a timeout called for by Coach Ford right in front of the Fort Lee bench with 2:31 left to go in the fourth quarter. A long sustained possession here for the Bridgemen, but will Fort Lee be able to pay this off with some points? As Bergenfield is moving closer and closer to trying to pull level here late in this game. Thank our proud sponsors of Fort Lee Bridgeman Athletics. As you can see on your screen there, they help make these broadcasts possible for all you fans to enjoy, and we hope that you are enjoying our continued broadcast coverage of this 2024 Jack Riley Holiday Tournament. (43-39) lead for Fort Lee. They've led by as many as 7. Fort Lee has yet to commit a foul this entire fourth quarter. Bergenfield is over the limit. So Fort Lee sets it up in the half court here with 2:31 left to go. Jacob Greenberg inbounding it into the backcourt to Max Greenberg. Bergenfield has been setting a double team, trying to force the turnover. Get it down low to Vickers. Double team swarms to him. Jacob Greenberg again tossing it inside, and that's going to be a collision that elicits the whistle and a foul, as I believe it was her who collided in with Guy Vickers. And that'll send Vickers to the foul line to shoot 2. Herb picks up his first foul of the game. Vickers misfires, and Fort Lee betraying itself at the foul line. They're 0 for 3 in the last 3 foul shot attempts here in the fourth quarter. Vickers 1 of 4 at the line in this game. Now 1 of 5, he misfired again. Fight for the loose ball, and it goes out of bounds. Last touch off of Bergenfield. So Guy Vickers has missed 3 straight foul shots in this game. Fort Lee stumbling its way home here. That's keeping hope alive here for Bergenfield, as the deficit remains at 4. Max Greenberg stolen away there by Herr, and Josh Herr swoops up to the rim for the lay-in, and it's now a 2-point lead on a timeout taken with 2:05 left to go. A similar type turnover was the undoing for Fort Lee last night against Passaic. It was a 60-60 ball game in overtime, and Fort Lee turned it over, led to a breakaway layup that proved to be the winning basket for Passaic last night. And to quote Yogi Berra, it's deja vu all over again. As Fort Lee turns it over, Josh Herr gets his first points in the fourth quarter. He's got 11 points now for Bergenfield. And that Fort Lee lead that once was 7 is now down to 2. With 2:05 left to go here in the fourth. Fort Lee struggling at the foul line, 0 for 4 in their last 4 foul shot attempts here in the fourth quarter. Full court pressure for Bergenfield right out of the timeout. Trying to force a turnover here. Fort Lee taking a lot of time to try to move it up the floor. Max Greenberg does get it through. Greenberg going high off the glass, and he got it stuck there on top of the backboard. So they'll have to dislodge that before we could resume play with 1:52 left to go. And Max Greenberg was trying to find a way once again to kind of do a circus shot. Going high off the glass with the left hand, but he got it on top of the backboard and lodged in between the backboard and one of the stanchions that is the upright here at East Gymnasium. So they're going to wait to try to pop this one up and off the backboard. And get back to the course of play here. And Tom Herr showing off he's not only talented as a trainer, but also dislodging. So we'll get back to the course of play, and Bergenfield will hold possession down by 2 with 1:52 left to go here in the fourth quarter. 43-41. Bears have been trailing for the majority of this second half. Now a chance to tie or even take the lead here late in this game. Fort Lee with no fouls against them, so they could be aggressive here. Duncan looking for Herr. Herr's the dangerous three-point shooter along with Xiaojude. Finding Duncan inside. Valdez too strong on his baseline jumper attempt. Bruden trying to break away, and he gets fouled in the act of trying to dribble away. It looked like he was about to dribble into a turnover. And Fort Lee will head down the other way, and again, it's on them to try to finish this one off, hitting their foul shots. You hit your foul shots, you win your game. Bruden 3 for 6 at the line in this game. Missing again. Fort Lee 0 for 5 at the line in the fourth quarter. Bruden finally knocks in a much-needed foul shot for the Bridgemen. He's got 8. The lead is 3, 44-41. 1:23 left to go in the fourth quarter. Who will pick up their first win of this 2024 Jack Riley Holiday Tournament? Herr being hounded. Murray staying with him. Rodriguez got stripped from behind. It caroms into the hands of Vickers. Vickers is thrown down to the hardwood. And that'll be another two-shot foul upcoming for Fort Lee with 1:05 left to go. Great defensive possession there by the Bridgemen. As Guy Vickers will head to the foul line. He has missed 3 consecutive foul shots in this game. A 44-41 lead for Fort Lee as they mop up some sweat on the other side of the floor. Vickers with the chance to extend this to a 2-possession margin. Vickers with 13 points in this game, had 30 points against Passaic last night. And he swishes home a big foul shot there to extend the Fort Lee lead to 4, 45-41. Vickers knew he misfired on that second foul shot attempt. It could be last touch off of Bergenfield. So Vickers goes 1 of 2 at the line there. Also played by the Bridgemen. Despite all the missed foul shots, they've been very good at getting the second and third opportunities with offensive rebounds. Vickers inside. Vickers misfiring. He's down on the floor behind the play. Fort Lee once again collects the offensive rebound. And Bruden gets fouled after Vickers was clutching on to his elbow there. Referees let them play, and on that subsequent scramble, Fort Lee still tracked down the loose basketball. Another foul against Bergenfield. Bruden swishing home that one. 9 points for Bruden. 5-point lead for Fort Lee. Duncan picked up his second foul. That previous foul was against Yadier Rodriguez, his fourth. Bruden gets all the rim and gets it a drop. He's got 10. 6-point lead. Jude quickly with the three, no good. Vickers tips it out in space to himself and to his teammate. Back to Vickers. Vickers goes up for the shot, and it's going to be a foul anyway. So even if it wasn't in the act of shooting, it was going to be 2 shots. Vickers did a savvy play where when he got it at midcourt, he kind of just played it out and tipped it out to himself. It found its way into the hands of his teammate Bruden, who got it right back to Vickers. But that was a smart play by Guy Vickers. And he'll rattle in that foul shot. 15-point performance now for the senior big man for Fort Lee. This ties the largest lead of the game now for Fort Lee at 7, 48-41. 43.8 seconds left to go in this second game of day number 2. And Vickers gets that second one to roll in as well. He's got 16. 8-point lead, largest of the game for Fort Lee. Jude going coast to coast, and a quick timeout taken. 17-point performance for the freshman from Bergenfield. 37.1 left to go in regulation, 49-43 lead for the Bridgemen, who once again are trying to go to 4-1 on the season with a win here today. Bergenfield in search of their first win of the season. They are 0-3. Fort Lee still with all different fouls to give. Bergenfield with no fouls to give, so if they're going to try to force a steal, they have to do so quickly, or they administer the foul and just hope that Fort Lee continues to struggle at the foul line. Fort Lee 6 of 12 from the foul line in the fourth quarter alone. It's been Guy Vickers and Christian Bruden the ones that have been getting to the line. Vickers the leading scorer for the Bridgemen, 16 points in the game. 10 points for Christian Bruden. His best scoring output of the season. Here he is right now, Bruden across the way. Might have gotten away with an extra step as well. Fort Lee just trying to play keep away here. As that is deflected out of bounds, last touch off of Bergenfield, but Fort Lee able to waste away some precious seconds off the clock. 23.5 seconds left to go. Into the backcourt to Jacob Greenberg. Now to Max Greenberg, and now the foul is administered. That'll send Jacob Greenberg to the foul line to shoot 2 with 17.5 seconds left to go here in the fourth quarter of play. First foul shot to the game for Jacob. Had all 7 of his points in this game back in the second quarter. He knocks in the first foul shot attempt, giving him 8 points and stretching that advantage for Fort Lee back to 7 at 50-43. Foul shot is good. Jacob Greenberg with 9. The lead is 8 for Fort Lee. Swinging that pass off to the near side. Rodriguez off balance 3, no good. Vickers with a rebound. And he'll just clear out some space, and Fort Lee will go on to win this one here at home by a final score of 51-43. Defense was outstanding there in the fourth quarter for the Bridgemen, as they held Bergenfield's only 9 points in that quarter, outscoring them 16-9 on their way to a 51-43 victory. Fort Lee with a win will move to 4-1 on the season, and will set up a matchup with Riverdale on Monday at 5 p.m. in the 5th place game, while Bergenfield will fall to 0-4 on the season and will play North Bergen on Monday at 1:30 p.m. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this second game of this second day. And we invite you to stick around and tune in for our first semifinal, as that'll be coming up shortly on its own respective broadcast link. Old Japan taking on Wayne Valley in our first semifinal of this Jack Riley Holiday Tournament. So for Renee Matisich and Dimitri Nanis, I'm Dan Long saying so long and thanks for watching here the 2024 Jack Riley Holiday Tournament, courtesy of the Fort Lee Athletic Department.